So Velma episode 3, since I missed the first two, this one continues on with talking about how Velma kissed Daphne and how they both are trying to get through their feelings. And ultimately, throughout the episode, they have to do this competition to make girls on the school campus and in the school district not be wimps. So they have to do a one-on-one fighting competition. Don't know why a school district would do something like that, but they did it, and ultimately it ends with Velma versus Daphne. Velma tries to get revenge on Daphne for Daphne apparently saying that, I forgot the exact words, but something along the lines of that Velma was somewhat of a loser or something. And so Velma decides to take the diary of Daphne and try to read it out in front of everybody in the gymnasium. It does not work very well, as someone in the crowd goes and says, mental health is a very serious issue. And it ends up turning on Velma, and Velma was kind of a dick throughout that part of the episode. And I was just kind of like, yeah, I agree with my own consensus that Velma was a dick. And the beast plot of the storyline is not Shaggy, but Lamont is, he's taking after his father and wearing a cardigan, and he's going to be doing therapy for people. And so he decides to be the therapist for Fred while Fred's in prison, and he ends up being the therapist for everybody in prison. Unfortunately, he misses the big group session that he was supposed to hold because he has to drive. Very dumb. I don't know why they put this in the show, but he had to drive Velma to Daphne's house. But Velma and Daphne live right next to each other, so this entire thing could have been avoided. Either way, he had to drive Velma to Daphne's house so she could talk out her feelings with her. And that's when they talk it out. That's towards the end of the episode, and Lamont ends up missing the session he was supposed to lead, which ends with the prison having a riot. And then Lamont's father, who is a Shaggy outline person, tells him that you're not ready for the cardigan and you cannot be a therapist yet. But then he finds out that his father has a very daring, bad secret about his mother that we find out in the next episode, apparently. Other plot lines in the show for this episode, I can't really remember, even though I just watched it. Those are the important ones that I just mentioned. Those are the important ones. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so to start off, I know everybody hates the show, and I personally don't see the show as a Scooby-Doo show, in any way, shape, or form. I see it as a somewhat, I see it as its own thing. Not even related to Scooby-Doo, Shaggy, Velma, all them other people. They have the same, outlines and drawings and, the whole gay plot line with Velma and Daphne. But I don't see them as that. I see it as just a whole new show that's just something to watch, and I watch it, and that's kind of it. There are some things in this entire show that I feel like people would enjoy making fun of, but unfortunately people just make fun of the whole show because it's just not to their liking. An example of this would be, let's see. When I talked about how the whole mental health matters thing in the gymnasium, I felt like the show was kind of mocking how people in today's real society talk about how mental health matters, but then really just kind of either shits on it if it's a man's mental health, or just doesn't really take it that serious. It's just a label for them. So I thought that was kind of interesting that the show did that, and I'm very surprised that the show does other things as well. I noted another thing, but I actually completely forgot it right at this moment. So, yeah, there are some things that the show, I think, points out, and it's just oh, okay, yeah, I get it. But unfortunately, the show is just so heavily scrutinized, and no one really likes it, to the point where people are just like, oh my god, this is terrible, and I can't watch just another second of it. I don't even count it as a bad show because I just don't care that much. I don't know. I don't care about the source material of Scooby-Doo. I grew up watching Scooby-Doo on Boomerang in the early 2000s. I was born in the 90s. So whether that means anything to you or not, because I know some people were born in the 80s, so they grew up with it. I guess I grew up with a pup named Scooby-Doo at that point. But I grew up watching Scooby-Doo, a pup named Scooby-Doo. I knew the movies were out. I never really watched them. I always ended up watching them on DVD when they would play them at the after-school shows. Or after-school stuff. And of course, now growing up, we see how campy it is and how they made Shaggy a weed head, and I don't know what else they did in the movie. But yeah, I don't care enough, I guess, to like not like the show and to not like the show. It's just something to watch because I'm extremely bored, and the other things that I watch are just reruns of things that I've already watched a million times as a kid. So yeah, that's the review of episode 3. I will have episode 4 out probably when I watch it, probably tomorrow. And don't worry about the lighting. I'm gonna get a lamp. I just ordered one actually, so hopefully it's here by Wednesday, and hopefully it's a good one. Because the one I did have, it's one of those giant circle ones. I had 2 of these, and the first one, the wirings on these suck. So never get these because they will not last you like a year. I don't know who makes these, but they make them real shittily. And they make them so bad that you cannot use them properly. The wiring on these are so bad to where you have to like continually move the wire to get the little light thing here to show up, and then when the light thing here shows up, you can turn it on and it works. But I was screwed around with it for about 5 minutes, and I finally gave up and threw it away. That one wasn't even mine. That one was someone else's that they gave to me because they were going to throw it away. But I was like, oh, I'll use it. And it worked for a little bit, and now it just doesn't. I had a smaller one of that, and that also just stopped working. So I was like, fuck it, throw it away. So yeah, that's Velma. That's episode 3. I will continue to review until season 1 is over, and then I will give my overall analysis of the show when I have time.